In the Torah's description of the Aron HaKodesh that was built to house the Luchos, so the Aron HaKodesh represents Torah, the Luchos that Moshe brought down from Sinai. So you will notice, as all the Meforshim point out, that all of the measurements are broken measurements. 2.5, 1.5 amos. It's not a full measure. Whereas in the other areas of the construction of the Kelim, it was not like that. There was full amos. So why here are there broken amos? Amos is split in the middle, so to speak. Well, there are many ideas, but one of the basic ideas, I think, casts light on Torah itself, because that's what the Aron HaKodesh was. And that is that, so to speak, there are different opinions on everything in Torah. There's no full amma, there's a half an amma. So you can look at it one way or you look at it another way. So that when we say the Torah was given to Moshe on Sinai, and Chazal say, Kol ma shetalmid vosik atzid lihitchadesh kvar nemar laMoshe b'Sinai, every opinion that was going to be forever regarding the study of Torah, and Moshe was aware of that. So what does that mean? So in its simplest sense, it means that Moshe was told on Har Sinai, listen, there's going to be Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. There are going to be differences in opinion as to what the Torah says and to what the halacha is. As a matter of practice, we have to follow only one. You cannot follow more than one. But as a matter of study, as a matter of understanding Torah, as a matter of appreciating the values of Torah, there are different opinions. And Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. And they're both right. And that's the idea of the half amma. So that is a concept that people find very difficult to deal with. Rabbi, is it kosher or is it not kosher? Chayiv or potter? Well, the great rabbinic answer throughout the ages is it all depends. You ask me the question on Thursday, it's not kosher. On Friday, it's kosher. How can that be? Because in the depths of Torah, all of this was taken into account. The Torah was given with half measures, with broken measures. And therefore we have all sorts of concepts in Torah, and in coming to a decision in halacha, that have to be taken into consideration. It's not just rules. And that was one of the great objections of many Rabbonim to such Svarim as the Rambams, the Mishnah Torah, because it codified the Torah. It made it a book of rules. The Rambam doesn't have the exceptions built into it. He just has the conclusions. He doesn't tell you how he got there. And the same thing is regarding the Shulchan Aruch. When Rabbi Yosef Karo composed the Shulchan Aruch, so for instance the Marshal and other great Talmidei Chachamim opposed it. They said, you're making a rule book. You want to know how to answer a shaila? Well, you got to see what the Gemara says. And if you see what the Gemara says, you're going to see that there's more than one opinion. All of us that study Talmud know, Abaya and Rava, Rav and Shmuel, Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir, there's no unanimity of opinion. And the Gemara says itself, excuse me, why does the Mishnah bother to quote the opinion of Beit Shammai when we know that in heaven they already announced that the halakha is like Beit Hillel? So the Gemara says, because there'll come a time, at certain circumstances, that we'll have to rely on Beit Shammai's opinion. And knowing when those circumstances are is the genius of Psak Halacha. And that's, for instance, the ability the ability to rely on what we call a dat yachid, an opinion only of one person. But that one person is a person, is a great Talmud Chacham. So even though we're not going to rely upon that opinion 90% of the time, because Yochid v'Rabim Halacha k'Rabim, nevertheless the opinion remains. It's there. And there will be times and circumstances when that opinion will be the correct opinion. So if one understands that value, and one understands that process, then the Talmud and all the poskim make a great deal of sense to us. The Gemara says, for instance, in Hilchas Aguna, we're going to be Mekil. How are you going to be Mekil? That's Hilchas Eishes Ish. That's the most chomer dike of all the Inyonim in Torah. What do you mean you're going to be Mekil? You're going to rely on, on an Eid Echad. You're going to rely on non-Jews. You're going to rely on hearsay evidence. In our world today, you're going to rely on DNA. There are matter women today on basis of DNA. The Gemara doesn't talk about DNA. But the Gemara says that in Ichlas Aguna, we're going to be Mekil. We have to find a way out. We have to find a way to free the woman. That's the overriding value. So that's why the Torah is given with half measures. Once it's given for half measures, then there's a flexibility, so to speak, as to how we're going to deal with the issue. When, where, how, whatever. I mentioned here once before, I'm sure no one has forgotten it, that Rav Herzog wrote 10 volumes after the Shoah to free Agunot. There's 10 volumes, he has maybe 10,000 tshuvas. I mean, it's unbelievable that one person could even write it, let alone think about it. How did he do that? Because the Torah gave him the right to do it. Moshe on Sinai got the right to do it. The Rebbeinu Shalom told him, "Be'elu ve'elu." And there are times that's how you have to do it. There are times you have to go the other way. Completely the other way. I remember an issue here that I spoke to a great posek about, and he told me, when I described the entire issue and the people that were involved and the circumstances, and he said to me, in essence, we could say that it's mutter. But don't you dare tell them that. Tell them that it's osur. Because if you tell them it's mutter, it will destroy the family, it'll destroy the community, it'll destroy everything. So tell them that it's osur. You don't have to explain to them why. But there's a value behind it that makes it osur. Even though if I look at the bare bones halacha, I can make it mutter. So that's the genius of halacha. I think One of the things that's not emphasized enough in our education and in the way we look at things is that there's a genius involved here. There's a greatness involved here. It's the ability to see beyond the question that's involved, not just the question that's involved. So now you'll understand Gzeiros also, a little. We're coming to Pesach. So by us fervent Ashkenazim, so we don't eat kidneys on Pesach. Not only don't we eat kidneys on Pesach, but we treat kidneys as though it were Chometz Gomer. And you see, for instance, they have to put on the package that it's Rak lochei kidneys bilvad. If you eat kidneys, but you can't. I mean, marash. We figured out that it's hundreds of years already that nobody is making bread out of legumes. Nobody's making matzah out of legumes. So then what's the whole Indian? So the whole Indian is because that's the fence in front of Chometz. That's the value. Now, the Sephardim didn't accept that. So therefore they have different fences. So there are Sephardim that eat rice and there are those that don't eat rice. Why? Because was rice already part of the problem? So these are all gzeiros and minhagim that were raised as fences and barriers, and that's what Chazal meant when they said "Vasu siog la Torah," make a defense barrier about the Torah. A big discussion in the United States today about barriers and walls. But the halacha recognizes that barriers and walls are necessary. We want to protect what we have. And if you're not willing to do it, then you have problems. I had only mentioned the first takona, chas v'sholom, that the reform made in Germany in 1804 in the first temple that they built in Hamburg was they omitted the first Yikum Purkan. Because the first Yikum Purkan is for Dayanim in Bavel. And who's in Bavel today? Who's the Reish Gelusa today? We're privileged, it's in Aramaic, so nobody knows what they're saying, so it's good. But if you know what they're saying, it's what? Who needs it? But they took out the first Yikum Purkan, and within a century, everything else went. Everything else went. Shema Yisrael also went. It's all gone. So the Torah understands that. The Torah understands human nature, understands the problems that are involved. So therefore the Torah was given with half measures. It was given with latitude. It was given with the ability that you could have foresight as to what it would lead to. So on one hand, we can say that when it comes to agunas, we don't need witnesses anymore. DNA is enough. Even though the Torah says you need 2 haters, you need this, that, we don't need anything today. You need the DNA, that's all. And on the other hand, we can say that what? We're not going to take out the first Yikum Purkan. Because that will only lead to eventual disaster 100 or 150 years down the road. So when we look at the measurements that are given in the Torah for the Kelim in the Mishkan, the Torah has to be understood on many, many levels. So on the simple level that we teach in Cheder, so the Torah describes the ark was 2.5, was 1.5, okay, fine, that's what it was. But we don't have the ark anymore. We don't have the Mishkan anymore. So what do we need it for? We need it because it casts light on the entire picture of the Torah. And what it meant that Moshe was Makabel the Torah at Sinai. What did he see there? How did he interpret it? What did he teach Klal Yisrael? So he taught him Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. From the beginning. Again, we can only follow one, Lamaisa, because we're human. But in our understanding of Torah, we have to be far more broad. We have to see that Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim. And in so doing, therefore, we gain an appreciation of Torah that otherwise we may not have had. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash, Omer Rotza Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos Yisrael, Lefi Chakir B'Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar, Adon Chatei Tzemach Tziteri Avdiu, Tanot Zidadiu. Gedag Zidadiu.